Welcome to Purposefully Living. I'm Mirriam K Musonda-Salati, and today we're stepping into purpose.
Today's discussion is inspired by the book written by Mirriam K Musonda-Salati, Identifying Your Purpose. It is a text that does not merely suggest we find a hobby, but rather demands we excavate the very reason for our existence. It is a heavy concept for a Tuesday, but a necessary one.
Heavy, but incredibly freeing. Musonda-Salati approaches purpose not as an external destination we have to hike toward, but as an internal reality we have to unveil. It is less about construction and more about archaeology. You are digging for something that was placed there before you drew your first breath.
That distinction is vital. We live in a culture obsessed with building a brand or creating yourself, yet the biblical and philosophical perspective here is that the blueprint is pre-existing. It brings to mind Jeremiah 1:5 in the NIV. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. The implication is terrifyingly specific. We are not accidents.
Precisely. And if we are not accidents, then our dissatisfaction with life is usually a symptom of misalignment. Miles Monroe, the late Bahamian evangelist who wrote extensively on this, used to say, "Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable." He meant that if you do not know what a thing is for, you will misuse it. If you do not know what you are for, you will misuse your own life. You will burn out trying to be a toaster when you were designed to be a blender.
That analogy holds up. You see people grinding through careers or lifestyles that look successful on paper, but internally, the machinery is jamming. It creates this friction. Musonda-Salati touches on this idea of identifying, the detective work of the soul. But why is it so hard? If it is written on our hearts, why are we so illiterate when it comes to reading it?
Noise. We are inundated with other people's definitions of success. But there is also a psychological component. Maslow called it the Jonah complex, the fear of our own greatness. We fear our lowest potential, sure, but we are often more terrified of our highest potential because accepting it requires total responsibility. If I admit I have a high calling, I can no longer justify wasting my time.
The responsibility of potential. That connects directly to Viktor Frankl. I was looking into his work on logotherapy while reading through Musonda-Salati's concepts. Frankl, writing from the context of the Holocaust, argued that the primary drive in human life is not pleasure, as Freud thought, or power, as Adler thought, but meaning. He said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. Finding that why is what makes the how of life, the suffering, the waiting, the grinding, bearable."
And that brings us to the most difficult part of purposeful living, which this book navigates beautifully, the waiting season, the gap between the revelation of the purpose and the realization of it. We love the idea of Joseph in the palace, but we despise the years Joseph spent in the prison. We want the promise without the process.
The process is where the identity is forged, though. If you received the platform before you had the character, the weight of the platform would crush you. Look at the psychology of resilience. Resilience is not just bouncing back. It is post-traumatic growth. It is the capacity to integrate the struggle into your identity. Musonda-Salati emphasizes that our past pains are often indicators of our future purpose. We are often called to heal the very things that broke us.
That is the redemptive nature of purpose. It wastes nothing. Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Note the condition, called according to his purpose. It doesn't say everything works out if you are just following your own ego. It implies alignment. When you align with that design, even the failures become raw material.
Let's talk about the mechanics of that alignment. How do we practically shift from a state of drifting to a state of purpose? Neville Goddard offered a fascinating philosophical take on this. He spoke about living from the end. He argued that you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If your self-concept is, "I am a failure trying to succeed," you will manifest more struggle. You have to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
It sounds esoteric, but it is deeply scriptural. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. You have to inhabit the identity of the person who is fulfilling that purpose before the external results show up. Musonda-Salati calls for this level of internal obedience. It is an obedience to the vision before it is tangible. Napoleon Hill called it the definite chief aim. You must have a singular, burning desire that organizes all your energy.
The definite chief aim helps cut through the fog, but what about when the path goes dark? I think that is where many listeners get stuck. They had a spark, they started the business or the ministry or the art, and then silence. The phone doesn't ring, the doors don't open, they feel abandoned.
That is the liminal space. In anthropology, it is the threshold between the old world and the new. It feels like abandonment, but it is actually preparation. Habakkuk 2:3 addresses this perfectly. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. The Hebrew implication there is that the vision has its own timing. You cannot force a harvest in winter, no matter how hard you pray.
So the active state during the wait is not passivity, it is preparation. It is sharpening the axe. If you believe your purpose is to lead, are you reading leadership books while you are following? If you believe your purpose is to provide, are you stewarding the little you have now? Musonda-Salati challenges the reader to look at their current obedience. You cannot ask for level 10 authority with level 2 discipline.
Exactly. Obedience is the currency of purpose. And often that obedience looks like doing the small, unglamorous thing with great love. We confuse purpose with fame. We think if we aren't on a stage, we aren't living purposefully. But a mother raising a child with intention is living in high purpose. A teacher investing in one student is living in high purpose. The scale does not validate the assignment. The source does.
That is a critical distinction. Our culture creates a hierarchy of purposes, but God creates a mosaic. Every piece is essential. If the eye decides it wants to be a hand because the hand gets more applause, the body is blind. This identity crisis, trying to be someone else's purpose, is the root of so much anxiety.
And envy. Envy is really just ignorance of your own assignment. If you knew the value of what you carried, you wouldn't be looking sideways at what someone else is carrying. This is where self-awareness and psychology come back into play. We have to do the shadow work. We have to ask, why do I want this? Is it to serve, or is it to be seen? Purpose that is rooted in ego eventually collapses, because the ego is too fragile to sustain the weight of a calling.
That collapse is inevitable if the foundation is vanity. But when the foundation is service, resilience is nearly infinite. Think about the legacy aspect. Purpose is inherently generational. We plant trees under whose shade we do not expect to sit. When you read Identifying Your Purpose, you get the sense that Musonda-Salati is urging us to think beyond our lifetime.
Yes, it is the cathedral builder mindset. You might only lay the foundation, but you are part of the cathedral. This perspective shifts how we handle setbacks. A setback isn't the end of the story. It's a plot twist in a much larger narrative. It allows us to detach our self-worth from immediate outcomes. If I fail at a task, I haven't failed as a human because my purpose remains intact. The method might change, but the mandate remains.
That flexibility is key. We often idolize the method. I must be a writer. Well, maybe your purpose is to communicate truth. Writing is just one vehicle. Maybe next year it's speaking or mentoring. If you cling to the vehicle, you crash. If you cling to the purpose, you can switch vehicles when one breaks down.
That is liberation. It frees you to pivot. It frees you to fail forward. And it allows you to enjoy the journey. Purposefully living isn't just about the destination. It's about the daily quality of your engagement with life. Are you present? Are you kind? Are you faithful in the unseen moments? That is the substance of the book.
It brings us back to that quiet late-night reflection. If a listener is sitting there right now, feeling entirely lost, feeling like they have missed the boat, what is the starting point? How do they turn the ship around?
They need to stop looking out at the horizon and look down at their feet. What is in your hand? What burdens your heart? Usually, the thing that grieves you the most is a clue to what you were sent to solve. And then, silence. You cannot hear a whisper in a storm. Carve out the quiet. Open the scripture. Ask the Creator, what did you have in mind when you made this? And then, be brave enough to listen to the answer, even if it scares you.
Because it likely will scare you. Growth always demands that we leave the familiar. But, as we have discussed, the alternative, remaining in the safety of the unfulfilled, is a far heavier burden to carry.
The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Choosing to engage with identifying your purpose is choosing the lighter weight of discipline.
A beautiful place to pause. We have been exploring themes from the book Identifying Your Purpose by Mirriam K Musonda-Salati. We hope this conversation acts as a mirror, helping you see the design that has been there all along.
Take a moment tonight. Turn off the noise. The world needs the version of you that is fully alive and fully aligned. Keep growing.
What a powerful conversation. To our guest, thank you for your time, your truth, and your willingness to pour into others. May God multiply what you shared today and return it to you in strength, joy, and open doors. And to everyone listening, I want you to remember this. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not disqualified. You are in a process, and God is still writing your story. So don't leave this episode the same way you came in. Take what you heard and let it become action. Let it become discipline. Let it become prayer. Let it become courage. If this blessed you, share it, leave a review, and stay connected. I'm Mirriam K Musonda-Salati, and this is Purposefully Living. Until next time, keep your faith loud, your spirit fed, and your purpose in motion.